This video is extremely important. Remember that they're changing my voice. I'm going to talk about why it is insane to not believe me, why it is insane to not know that gang stalking is real. I'm going to talk about the serious issues in a kind of second, this is like the second draft or so. Okay. 1 through 10 are pretty much sound. After that, it gets kind of, something I could kind of shift them around a bit. But this is the order of the issues that I came up with. Okay, the issues that I take the most seriously and that everyone else should take the most seriously. So they're universally, at least from 1 to 10, the most serious issues in society in order. Okay? And at times it might take some thinking for you to realize why I put one above the other one. But if you think it through, you'll see that I'm right. So this is the order. We'll get to this. Okay. Then we're going to talk about the abuses and all the 3,000 children a year. Different children were being sexually molested on average since 1950 in the French church alone. Okay. And we see, that's the Catholic Church, and you see in America, Protestant churches had massive scandals as well. We'll talk about the hunger and the mentalities that allow for it. We'll talk about manifest destiny, a very important topic. We'll talk about why character makes the top martial artist, not, character in sparring. The character to tell the truth about sparring, among other things. Okay, we'll talk about a harp being a sickle-shaped sword. Okay, and a sharp sickle that's being used to reap in Revelation. And if we have time, we'll talk about some other stuff here too. Okay, so the first most important issue, okay, is the point of life. Universal pinpoint and moral precision and the Royal African Falcon top martial arts order. Not Luciferian orders, not a Luciferian order out of chaos. So the point of life. If we're not going to help people achieve the point of life, and not this manifest destiny nonsense, but the actual point of life, character, right? The point of martial arts, the point of life, right? The ultimate aim of karate lies not in victory nor defeat, but in the perfection of the character of its participants. Okay, this guy, I believe he started a form of karate. This is Bruce Lee, and he started Jeet Kune Do. Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do, right? We must apply, we must do, we must actually have character. Okay, is what these guys are saying. I don't agree with them about everything, but I agree with them about this when you refine it and get it right. We'll get to that. Okay? So if we're not going to bring people to character, then they're just scum that deserve to die. In fact, in some cases, people were executed. In the Bible, they were stoned to death. Sometimes Muslims stone them to death. Christians are known to execute people for sodomy all throughout history. The death penalty is still in a lot of states, from what I gather. What have you. Okay? So if they're not going to achieve the actual point of life and be morally precise, not moral relativist, but actually what is precisely the right thing to do. If they're not going to do that, then to hell with them. All bets are off. Let them suffer. So this is the order. This is my prioritization. The point of life. Universal pinpoint and moral precision. Not cheating anyone out of the right to lead who deserves to lead. That means the Royal African Falcon top martial arts order. We'll get to that, how these guys testify that I'm right and that they're wrong. And that my system is right and their system is wrong by their own quotes. Okay? They testify against themselves, like Set in Egyptian mythology testifies against himself. Okay, that's point number 1. The point of life. Point number 2. Eugenics, neocolonialism, social engineering, manifest destiny, continentalism, right? They wanted to spread Americanism throughout the whole continent, right? Expansionism, wanted to expand it throughout the world. Racism, nation building, right, which is the words they use these days, right? They want to spread democracy, nation building, right? Developed nations versus underdeveloped nations, okay? Social Darwinism, right, which has to do with scientific racism. Notice how this Apollo-like theater art homosexual-looking Westerner, okay, he looks English-ish, Greek society-ish. So I was cut off by these inferior forms of life, but anyway, he looks English-ish, French-ish, Greek society-ish, LGBT big time. And notice he compared himself to LGBT-looking black people or some kind of mix between an ape and a black person. Right, a black person looks more like a monkey than other people. Okay, it's retarded to say that, hey, that isn't ideal, and that fucking this is Okay, or this is, this guy. I mean, give me a fucking break, okay? That's chasing a kid's booty your whole life make you ideal? No. Looking like someone that does? No fucking way. Okay, looking like the top martial artist ideal? Yes. There's no other way to look at it. You think you're getting some kind of trance-like state? We're manifesting our destiny, though. Right? It's fucking stupid. So again, if we're not going to address these things, like addressing the point of life, okay, within reason, to our best ability, within the boundaries of being willing to die for moral precision, okay, then why bother? Okay, what we're going to do is help build these, they call nation building, help build these racist guys' fucking society. The sickos and their arrogant females that are rolling with them, and the various sexually immoral females out there. What's the point? You're going to act like some kind of fairy clown martial artist in society? What is the point? Some geeking ass ninnies? What is the point? Not necessarily these people will say. Some kind of witchcraft, manipulated by nerd type of... There's no point in living that life. None. If you don't know that, my goodness, were you born yesterday? Okay. Point number 3, dating and reproduction. Okay, God is the creator, procreation. Okay, if we're not going to address reproduction before starvation, right? Moral society, not American fake moral society, not manifest destiny where they pretend to have special virtues in the American people. That's fucking nonsense. What, George Bush and them? What, the Klan? Fraternities, sororities, rock and roll people? What gangsters or corporate greed? Or what virtues are you talking about? Hello, okay, the 1 in 4 little women and 1 in 6 men before the age of 18 who are molested, according to the Center of Disease Control, the CDC statistics, and the Children's Assessment Center in Houston, Texas. Houston.org, not Oregon. Houston.org. You call that virtue, or someone will take me out of context? He said he thinks it's in Oregon. No, you idiot! It's called making a minor mistake, a slip of the tongue. Okay? So if we're not going to address 1 through 3, to hell with everybody. Even if people look more like me who are starving, right is right and wrong is wrong. So if you're not going to be morally precise on 1 to 3, to hell with you and your offspring, because after I die, there's no possible way to be moral. Number 4 is starvation. 25,000 people a day is about 9 million a year, 10,000 of them children. Every day, 10,000 children die according to the United Nations. UN.org. All the nations got together, so to speak, and they came up with this to say, yes, this many people are starving to death because we're insufficient leaders and we're more like this guy than like this guy. Okay, and therefore, all these people are dying for no reason. There's no way in hell that I would allow that. I'd push, if the population is too big and it's not sustainable, I'd push for tubes tied, 1 child limits. One thing I would never allow is people to starve to death. That's sadistic, bitch-ass cowardice that has no place in a civilized society, or no place on a planet with decent people. Only a planet of wicked people allow for it and act like sniveling worms instead of face their oppressor. We'll get to that. Matter of fact, let's get to that right now. Okay, here's this guy. Looks like a little bit more sincere guy than the average guy, that's for sure. He says, each of us has his cowardice. Each of us is afraid to lose, afraid to die. But hanging back is the way to remain a coward for life. Hanging back is the way to remain a coward for life. The way to find courage is to seek it on the field of conflict. And the sure way to victory is willingness to risk one's life. A willingness to risk one's life, one's own life, which by default affects your family. If you have 5 kids and you're risking your life, is it going to affect your family if you die? Yes, you're making a judgment call. So therefore, we got to put the point of life over our lives and our families, and this guy just agreed. Now, knowing that is not enough. We need to apply it. Being willing to do it is not enough. You need to actually do it. And in life, there is a field of conflict, and it has to do with not cheating me out of my right to lead. Now, matter of fact, let me just show you this picture right here, because some people might be confused about why me. Looks like we're going to have to do this in like 4 or 5 parts, especially if I show you other posters. Okay. So here is like the second to last challenger, whatever it was. Okay, you see that I have a certain focus. I'm like, we're getting down, right? He's throwing a punch there, trying to kind of keep me back, right? We're sparring, light contact. We're not actually trying to fight each other, okay? But we're sparring to see who outmaneuvers who. Okay, he's throwing up his hands. I'm outmaneuvering him. I'm striking him. Okay, boom, I'm striking him. I'm dodging his blows, right, which is part of it. Blows missed by inches is part of martial arts. Okay, you see this? Boom, you see that kind of form there. I'm like 6'4", 190 pounds at that time or so. So again, I was interrupted. You can see I could beat these other guys easily, even though they've done things to reduce my martial appeal. Okay, now look at this, right? See the exact angle of blocking, right? Certain lateral movements that other people don't have or don't have as effectively. They're not from a long line of warriors who strike in a certain way that get the job done no matter what. Again, I'm not shaped like a cop or football lineman or a bigger guy. Okay, it just seems like that because of the cut of the outfit. For example, look at this picture, right? Not a bigger guy. Here is me with wearing a coat at 15, not a bigger guy. And I have countless, look at this, when I'm 20 years old, not a bigger guy, okay? Look at this picture, not a bigger guy. Look at here, you can kind of tell by the body structure, not a bigger guy, okay? So they try to confuse you about that because the word clean is a play on words for see lean, and they're trying to make it seem like they're the knights in shining armor, and then, oh, yes, we're so clean, and we're so important, and they're trying to, you see what I'm saying? That's all that is. Anyway, so you see here I'm blocking him, and here, he was so focused on he couldn't deal with my powerful front right kick. Both my kicks are very effective. My front right kick's particularly menacing, okay? And then it landed there, like it came short, but then I spun it on him, and I ended up pushing off him with a side kick. Now keep in mind, this kick to the groin costs you dearly, okay? So that right there, crack! He's on the ground holding his nuts, okay? You can't let that kick go through. So he couldn't deal with my hand techniques, couldn't deal with the kicks, okay? And this guy, was a brown belt at the time, okay? Here you see me, going through the motions of how I scored this point where I lean forward. Look at the distance covered. I have long arms and I step forward, okay? My strategy was so effective that on somebody who's fast and shorter with a smaller target, because he's shorter, I was able to do that. Now, this is just one example of things, the information that is available on the internet still, that they're probably going to reduce in phases until they're satisfied, so you can't rally fast enough, that makes it clear that nobody can beat me. And character is a willingness to accept that and tell the truth about that. And knowing that that is character is not enough, one must apply. Now look at these homosexual famous guys. Okay, martial is marital, between a man and a woman. Anyone tells you otherwise is silly. Look at these LGBT people, for example. Are they natural warriors? No, because the natural warriors were heterosexual guys. So LGBT guys basically are just gay guys toying with martial arts. Okay, that's part of why this chick resembles this Manifest Destiny picture, where they have these Native Americans who are half naked, fleeing from the Transcontinental Railroad, from the colonists, the pilgrims, what have you. This is what this is depicting, okay? And this chick has a weird, satanic, goofy look on her face, like this chick, right? This smug theater arts. Oh, I'm white privileged, but I'm a liberal, I'm harmless. They may as well have this look on their face, okay? And we'll say, no offense to this person, but that's what I get from your picture. If you think I'm wrong, we'll discuss it, okay? Maybe I'll remake this video if you can prove me wrong, but I doubt that I'm wrong. And if I'm right, yes, I should be able to say it. So you see how she represents this. They're manifesting their destiny, right? Fake at the cost of poorer people, of quote unquote less important people in their society, okay, of colored people, of indigenous people, because they're racist oppressors, okay? And notice how she's dressed like a slut. She's ready to be ravaged by some wizard ninny punk, okay? Which goes back to the three basic tenets of the concept of manifest destiny. The special virtues of the American people and their institutions. Is this special virtues or theater art bitch? Okay, the mission of the United States to redeem and remake the West in the image of the agrarian East. Okay, not in the image of God. Okay, but in the image of the agrarian East. So what virtues you have? And you talk about divinely ordained destiny, but you're secular lunatics. Okay, an irresistible destiny to accomplish this essential duty. Irresistible. Okay, just like plugging a kid. It's like why, these 380 clergies, okay, members, leaving behind over 700 victims since 1998. Okay, irresistible to plug a kid in the butt. Okay, now see part 2. We're gonna show you why I'm right and they're wrong.